The mystery of the vanished Sodder children. Hello viewers, in this video, I will tell the chilling story of the Sodder children, who vanished after their West Virginia home went up in flames in 1945. Leaves more questions than answers. The citizens of Fayetteville, West Virginia awoke to tragedy. On Christmas Day in 1945, a fire had consumed the home of George and Jennie Sodder, leaving 5 of the couple's 10 children dead before the sun set on that tragic December 25th. Nagging questions arose about the fire, questions that persist to this day, placing the Sodder children at the center of one of American history's most infamous unsolved cases. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened to the Sodder children after the family home burned down in 1945. Did Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, and Betty really perish in the fire? George and Mother Jennie didn't think so, and erected a billboard along Route 16 to enlist the help of anyone who might have information about their children. George and Jennie Sodder were both Italian immigrants, although only George, who immigrated when he was 13-year-old, spent an appreciable amount of time in his home country. The couple was a shining example of the American dream. George went from working railroads in Pennsylvania to owning a small trucking company in West Virginia. He and his wife had 10 children and lived in a 2-story home just north of Fayetteville, where many Italian immigrants and their descendants had settled. George was many things: a hard worker, a dedicated family man, but he was never one who shied away from sharing his beliefs. He frequently discussed his disapproval of fascist dictator Benito Mussolini, who was seen by some pre-World War II Italian Americans as a model of strength who had made Italy great again. Arguments with other Italian Americans were common, and the family claimed that during the war years, George was the subject of threats. War was over, which meant that eldest son Joe would soon return from the army. Daughter Marion had bought presents for the youngest Sodder siblings with income from a new job. At night, 5 of the Sodder children retired to the upstairs attic for bed. Actually, a fire engulfs the Sodder family home. The undisputed facts are 9 of the 10 Sodder children went to bed on Christmas evening. After that, Mother Jennie was awoken 3 times. First at 12:30 a.m. She was awoken by a phone call during which she could hear a man's voice, as well as glasses clinking in the background. She then went back to bed only to be startled by a loud bang and a rolling noise on the roof. She soon dozed off again and finally awoke an hour later to see the house engulfed in smoke. These are 5 Sodder children who vanished on Christmas Day 1945. George, Jennie, and 4 of the Sodder children, toddler Sylvia, teenagers Marion and George Jr., as well as 23-year-old John, escaped. Marion ran to a neighbor's house to call the Fayetteville Fire Department, but did not get a response, prompting another neighbor to go looking for Fire Chief F.J. Maurice. In the hours spent waiting for help, George and Jennie tried every imaginable way to rescue their children, but their efforts were thwarted. George's ladder was missing, and neither of his trucks would start. Help did not arrive until 8 a.m. Even though the fire department was just 2 miles away from the Sodder home, the police inspector said the cause of the fire was faulty wiring. George and Jennie wanted to know how that was possible, given that there had been no previous issues with the electricity. Friends questioned this: where did the Sodder children go? They also wanted to know why there were no remains among the ashes. Chief Maurice said that the blaze had cremated the bodies, but a crematorium worker told Jennie that bones remain even after bodies are burned at 2,000 degrees for 2 hours. The Sodder home only took 45 minutes to burn to the ground. A 1949 follow-up search uncovered a tiny portion of human vertebrae, which was determined by the Smithsonian Institution to have sustained no fire damage, and most likely was mixed in with the dirt that George used to fill in the basement while constructing a memorial for his children. There were other oddities about the case as well. In the months preceding the blaze, an ominous drifter hinted at doom, and a few weeks later, an insurance salesman angrily told George his house would go up in smoke, and his children would be destroyed as payment for his criticism of Mussolini among the area's largely Italian immigrant community. For decades, the Sodder family never gave up hope in attempting to find their missing children, and the sightings began immediately after the fire. The Sodder children were reportedly spotted in a passing car watching the blaze, said some locals. The morning after the fire, a woman operating a truck stop 50 miles away said the children, who were with Italian-speaking adults, came in for breakfast. The Sodders contacted the FBI to no avail, and spent the rest of their lives searching for their children, scouring the country and following up on leads. Nearly 20 years after the fire in 1968, Jennie received a picture in the mail of a young man claiming to be Louis, but attempts to find him were fruitless. George died later that year. Jennie built a fence around their home and wore black until she died in 1989. The youngest of the Sodder children, Sylvia, now in her 70s, resides in St. Albans, West Virginia, and the mystery of the Sodder children lives on. So viewers, this was mysterious story of the vanished Sodder children. Viewers, like other cases, the case of Sodder children remain unsolved and police did not find kidnapper and killers. Friends, what you can say about their mysterious disappearance? Who killed or kidnapped them? Please tell me in the comment section. Friends, if you like this story, please like this video and subscribe my channel for more amazing horrible real stories. And do not forget to press the bell icon. Take care of yourself, and I meet you in a new video.